What's happening, people? Welcome back to another stream. And this is the second one this week. So, yes, you guys are being spoiled for content right now. But we are going to be talking about the Arsenal transfer window. It has been concluded, it has ended. And the England and the Premier League transfer window has officially shut last night around midnight. And we can now talk about the three signings who have come in, but we're also going to reflect back on the first half of the season and whether we can take any positives or can we be proud of this Arsenal team, top of the league. We're on our way to win the Premier League and we're 5 points clear. Welcome to the Arteta era, people. This is one that you do not want to miss. Make sure you do subscribe, like, and share the video. It does massively, massively help out. And if you are new here, you can share the video and let the people know. But let's get right into it. Let's go with the first signing of the winter window. We were chasing for Michaela Mudryk. We've been looking at this target since last summer, and it's been 6 months in deliberations with the likes of Shakhtar Donetsk, with tapping up the player, looking at bringing in Mudryk, and it never happened. Obviously the deal fell through. Chelsea swooped in and hijacked the deal and took Michaela Mudryk from under our noses within a spell of 24 hours. And for a lot of Arsenal fans, it was very disappointing. Another top signing, seemingly, kind of put a dampen on the mood in the fan base. Is this going to be another January window where we don't utilize it, where we don't strengthen the squad, where we don't invest in them when they are top of the league? Is this another failed Kroenke window? But that was not to happen. Within 48 hours to 36 hours, we go and announce Leonadro Trossard of Brighton for an absolute bargain of a deal. 21 million plus 7 million in add-ons, 28 million pounds in total for the Brighton Belgium international, who has been absolutely tearing it up in the Premier League. Hat trick at Anfield, scoring against the likes of Man City, scoring against us, scoring against Spurs, United. All of the top six have dealt with this guy, and now he is and he's not our problem. He is our solution to the problems that we have. So this is going to be a magnificent, electrifying transfer for us, and I cannot wait for him to properly get started under the Mikel Arteta system, coming off the bench, giving us the option for the Europa League, giving Martinelli a well-deserved rest when needed, a rotation when needed, and this is going to be a signing which we absolutely will love in years to come. And moving on to the second transfer, which came actually very close and actually were pretty much announced at the same time, and that is Jakub Kiwior of Spezia. Now, a lot of people don't know much about him. He's a Serie A player. He's a Poland international as well. Coming in to be the left-footed centre back. Playing on the left-hand side. He's going to come in for a Gabriel Magalhaes rotation. He's going to come in to bolster the defensive numbers that we have and bring the quality, the aggression, and the qualities that we already see in Gabriel Magalhaes, but he's going to add a different dimension. If a lot of people have scouted and watched this player and looked at his numbers and underlying metrics, you're going to understand the reasons why Mikel Arteta, the likes of Edu and Richard Garlick were very keen to bring this young man in. Now, not only does he possess the attributes of Gabriel Magalhaes, but he also adds to the dimensions of attack to springboard attacks and make those counters happen a lot quicker than we're doing right now. When you look at his sort of vertical passes, he can unlock Bukayo Saka. He can unlock those wingers in a very speedy counter. And when we've got Gabriel Martinelli and Saka who can utilize the space in behind and exploit it with the pace that they have. Obviously, when you add the likes of Eddie Nketiah to that, Gabriel Jesus is not a slouch either. This is going to be a signing, especially playing off the ball when teams are going to come on to us. One of the biggest things that we need to understand is we're one of the quickest starters in the Premier League right now. We score within the 20 to 25 minute window pretty much every other game. So when we're looking at that, teams are going to have to come on to us if they want to get a draw or a win out of this game. And sometimes, you know what, Gabriel needs to come off and he needs a rest. And when that happens, we don't want to lose something. We don't want to be bringing a Robert Holding on just to close the game. What he's going to be able to do is not only just come on, but he's going to be able to bring something different to our attack. He's going to be able to sit there and springboard attacks on the counter, and that's going to be very crucial to the way we move forward. And moving on to our third signing of this window, and that is Jorginho, Italian international from Chelsea. Now, has history repeated itself? Has the bad patch of the windows come back to haunt us? A 30-plus-year-old cast-off Chelsea midfielder, Willian, Pericek, David Luiz, all of them have been underwhelming, but these are different times. And can this signing be an exciting signing for us and exactly what we miss? And that's what I want to kind of talk about more than the Leandro Trossard. I want to talk about this one more than I want to talk about, Kiwior, because this is the one that's got the fan base divided. It is a Marmite signing. Pablo in the house, Yes, brother, how you doing? A different angle because I'm watching the United game at the same time, but gotta still stream, gotta bring the content out for the people. And Jorginho, what do we say about this guy? J5, third in the Ballon d'Or listings, Champions League winner, Euros winner, a Premier League winner, if I'm not mistaken, as well. He's done it all. He has really been around the blocks, done it all. Has my mind changed after the meltdown I've had on Twitter? Has things changed? And the answer is yes. The more I kind of sleep on it, the more I think about it, the more I kind of deliberate with myself. I quite like the signing. I've turned around to the fact that actually he's going to give us something different. He's not a Thomas Partey, but what he is going to do is bring an additional quality that Mohammed El Neni brought to the table. You know he's solid. You know he's going to give you 6, 7, maybe 8 out of 10 performances, but he's going to solidify everything. You're not going to lose control like when we bring on 3, 4 substitutions. Hence why Arteta is very hesitant on bringing players in. When we look at Jorginho and his underlying metrics, we've really got to understand why we bought a player like him in. Thomas Partey offers us one dimension within the midfield. Jorginho is a completely different type of midfielder, but his defensive numbers are not far off Thomas. Actually, they're better than Thomas Partey's. But the difference is that at least he'll bring the progressive passing. He'll bring in the sort of link from defense to attack. Jorginho will also, like Pablo was saying, will help us in the Europa League or the European competitions. And, in the long run in the Prem as well. I mean, he's done it both. So for me, he's going to be an exciting one. He's going to be one of those which kind of solidifies us in the European competitions, especially with rotations. We're going to need effectively two sort of strong 11s. You need a kind of be able to rotate without dropping quality. And Jorginho does that. The difference is with the Williams, the David Luiz, and the Petr, they came in toxic environments and they came in falling out with the managers, falling out with the regime, falling out with the backroom staff. Jorginho isn't coming in with that situation. He's coming in a different way. He's coming with the respect of Chelsea fans, with the respect of the Chelsea, operations, with the owners. This is kind of different. This feels a little bit different. He's just not a player that Chelsea need, but he's a player that we can do with, especially like I mentioned, the controlling midfield in terms of what he can offer that's different to what Thomas Partey brings. When you talk about closers in football and substitutions who are going to come in and just make sure everything ticks over and you don't lose the game, this is the kind of player you want to be bringing off the bench. Plus, people are looking at him being slow. They won't worry because Zinchenko can back him up when he plays left back 100%. That's why I say, like, the more I kind of deliberate and look at the system as a whole, I'm not that concerned and I'm not that worried about this signing because he makes sense in the system we'll be playing in. Even when you look at Thomas Partey hasn't always been a natural lone six. But the reason we've been able to pivot him into it is because of the likes of Zinchenko, the likes of, even to the new role that Granit Xhaka is playing. We're pressing higher up the pitch, which means the defensive responsibilities are less. It's like when Manchester City, not this season, but prior to the season, they used to have one centre back. If you look at sort of their player map, they only played with one centre back. Every other player was pretty much in midfield or going forward. So when you look at it, that's the kind of dynamic we're looking to create. When Zinchenko drops into midfield, he's going to bring the pace and the urgency. You've got Odegaard, who's not the quickest, but in defensive presses, he's quite quick in terms of retrieving the ball back. Then you look at Ben White, he inverts as well. And then Bukayo Saka drops in as like a fifth defender. So the way that we kind of operate defensively means Jorginho doesn't need to have the pace. He doesn't need to move as quickly as a Thomas Partey does. There's going to be moments where we question his pace and we go, only if he was quicker. But that's going to be in sporadic periods of a game. And I don't think that's going to be the overwhelming concern we're going to have. Um, Obviously, Moses Caicedo being the second option to a Jorginho, hence why we bought Jorginho in. Sure, Caicedo would have been good, still can get him in the summer, but Caicedo hasn't been through the Prem run, the Champions League run together. He will also add positivity in the changing room. You're 100% right with that. It's one of those ones where it's difficult to kind of talk on. I don't, I did bash the signing and it's like I don't get it, but that's more from a history perspective. That's more from what we've seen a Chelsea player coming over. But like I said, the more you kind of calm down, the more you kind of understand the signing a bit better. You understand the profile of signing. You can really grasp the reasons to why Mikel Arteta is excited about bringing him in. And I think one of the other reasons why my opinion changed is when you see players interacting with the player, the manager, when you sort of see their first day at the club content, you kind of start to see that actually there's a lot of respect already in the dressing room for a player like him. So I can't really sit here and question it when everyone's happy with it, when all the players, the manager, the boardroom, they're all confident. I can't say the scouting and our network of scouting has changed and be a hypocrite at the same time by saying this makes no sense. It doesn't have to make sense to me. That the point that I'm trying to make that people need to understand is this signing can go one of two ways. It can be one of the best signings we do and go win the Europa League and the league, or it could be one of those where we're like, okay, this is it now. We can't do this again. But I do truly believe it's going to be a lot more positive than a lot of people are thinking. I do think it's a smart signing. I do think it's going to be one of those ones where we look back at and go, fair play, fair play. You did what you needed to do. And I definitely eat my words and say, do you know what? Maybe I went overboard just because it wasn't what I wanted. Maybe the shiny new toy syndrome kicked in for me as well. And it happens, it happens. Sometimes we just want to 100% take some time to comprehend it. But in my opinion, is a positive signing for you guys. He can also help the likes of Sambi, um, and the younger midfielders like Xavi and Iniesta did at Barcelona. You're 100% right. I mean, I've come around to the signing. I won't lie. I've kind of accepted it for what it is. And it's one of those ones where I do like it. The more I look at it, I'm like, you know what? It kind of makes sense for what we're doing. Youngest squad in the Premier League. How many more younger players do we really want to be adding? So, yeah, man, it was a bit weird because you go from like a Caicedo to a Jorginho. It's a bit of a we wanted Caicedo, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But obviously, speaking on my sort of concerns weren't actually the players that we bought in. I quite like all three of them. They will add something. They'll add quality. They add the depth that we need. And the problematic areas in terms of Thomas Partey getting injured, in terms of anything happening to one of our defenders, and also the attacking depth has all been covered. So in that sense, you have to rate the window. You have to say, do you know what, we got our job done. I think the only problem a lot of Arsenal fans and myself are having isn't necessarily with the players we've signed, but why we can't get any of these big signings over the line. Vlahovic, for example, when you look at the likes of Alessandro Martinez, when you look at when you even when you look at your first targets in terms of Mudryk, when you look at who else was there? There was one more that we went in for. I can't remember the name, but we've not been able to get these done under Edu and Richard Garlick, and it becomes a concern the longer you leave it like this. But for me, we're top of the league, 5 points clear. We've rarely got it wrong recently. So for me, it's like I can keep questioning why these things aren't happening. But I think at the moment we're fine. We are in a position where we can take those sort of risks and walk away from the top signings and go for our plan Bs. The reality is, you look at the summer window and truly evaluate the plans. January isn't a window which a lot of business can get done unless you're willing to pay stupidly over the top for it. And that's just something we're not willing to do anymore. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans need to come to the idea that that's part of the plan. That's part of what we're trying to build towards is a sustainable way of succeeding in football. And it may not be the way we like it. It may not be the way we want it to be, but it's the way we're moving forward. And I kind of just come to accept it's difficult to do sometimes because you look at Chelsea, for example, getting Felix, Mudryk, Mudieke, Enzo Fernandes, Bani Shieli, whatever his name is, and you do look at it and go, why can't we have that? But the reality is, we're building long term sustainable success. And that's what we need to look at it from. We need to look at it from that perspective that we're, we're looking to build long term and not just for the now. Bruv, it's hard talking for so long. Yeah, throat gets bare dry. Anyways, getting back onto the season, let's do a bit of a season review and then we'll kind of call it a day. And I'm just kind of getting a routine together, getting more regular with the videos. So bear with me, guys. It will come. It will take a bit of time. But looking at the season so far, I mean, we've got to be proud as Arsenal fans of what this club has done. It's superseded everyone's expectations. I don't think anyone expected us to be in the position we're in, regardless of how many drop offs there have been. Man City don't look like their former selves. Liverpool definitely don't look like their former selves. Chelsea, you've had a horrible drop off as well. When you look at the likes of Spurs, have been very inconsistent. United look like they may be finding form. Do we by default just go to the top of the league, or is this something we've achieved and we can be proud of? And the answer is it doesn't matter. You're 5 points ahead of a gargantuan, juggernaut in the Premier League in Manchester City right now. 100 points consistently, 95 point plus consistently is what they're achieving. And we've been able to compete and actually supersede them right now. And we're on track to making Centurion level points if we continue the way we have. One defeat, two draws, and I think it's something like 18 wins or something, or 15 or 16 wins. And that is something to be proud of. We've broken the 50-point mark halfway through the season, and we've scored. We're pretty much on target to scoring more goals in the Premier League than we've ever done in our history. We've conceded the third least goals and the third best defense in the league, or second best, potentially behind Newcastle. So when you look at it overall, our balance of play, we're getting the numbers in both areas. We're not conceding as much, but we're scoring at will. We're scoring freely, and that's what matters in football. And when you look at the cup competitions, disappointing, but it is what it is. I mean, coming out of the Carabao Cup against Brighton, getting knocked out by Man City in the FA Cup. Now, the thing is, it's disappointing, but expected, because if we go and win the Premier League and maybe, let's say, we go win a Europa League or get to the finals of the Europa League, that's, in my opinion, a successful window given what we've been through. And we're not out of the Premier League. At this point, we'd just be like, yeah, we're gonna get top four. But now we're talking about winning the league and confidently saying the league's ours to lose. Usually we'd be like, yeah, we may lose top four. So the conversation flipped on its head, and we're now talking about winning a Premier League after 22 years. It's been a very, very, very long time, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. And so far, so good. We've got the through signing, through position that we needed. And yeah, we just look forward to seeing what we can do. Everton on Saturday. Sean Dyche returns. It is going to be a difficult game, especially if he can get his system implemented and drilled into these guys, which he's really good at doing. So we'll have to see. But I will be calling it a day unless you guys have got any questions, anything you guys want to ask, drop it in the comments. And I'll try and go for about a minute or so if you guys have got any comments there to bring in. But yeah, the streams will be more regular. They're probably going to be around 10 o'clock, I'd say. Um, every other day is what I'm aiming towards. And I do want to try and build my own platform. I do help a lot of YouTubers out and a lot of streamers who do ask for panel time. But it's also about building my own brand now as well. So if you guys can massively support, do subscribe, do share the content. It does massively help. And it's free to do so. And big up Pablo, man. I know you're going to be looking for some, yeah, for some, what do you call them now? What do you call it? Clips, sorry. Can't remember why I did that. Unahi is what you guys will be looking at. And my God, so his goal right now. He scored his goal. Unahi is brilliant. Like, that is something I wanted. Like, that is the kind of player. Like, because even, like, when you look at it, he went for 10 million euros to Florentina or something like that. Not Florentina, sorry. Leon, I think it was. But he went, I think it was in the same league. He went from League On to League On. I can't remember the exact team. And we could have hijacked that. That could have been a signing, young player, plays in the position we need. Even if you look at Sufyan Amrabat now, I know he had his heart set on Barcelona, but that move was there as well. But hey, yeah, I think you spelled it right, I think, from what I can tell. And oh, he went to Marseille. Yeah, my bad. I know it was in League On, but I couldn't pick out the name there. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Um, Obviously, it's gonna slowly build, but I appreciate every single viewer. I appreciate Pablo for commenting on the videos and obviously all the effort that you put into clipping the videos and yeah, trying to make us look bad or maybe good. I don't really know, but I do appreciate the work that you do as well. But thank you for tuning in, guys. Have a good evening. There is a lot, going on. United are playing Forest. Can Forest do a miracle? I mean, they've got a whole new 25-man squad. So let's see what they can do. They can bring on as many players as they like at this point. But yeah, take care, guys. Bless.